Right. Recording in progress. Guys, so I'm gonna get the workshop up now for you to take a look at, okay? And again, for those people that just didn't hear me speak there, this is basically neuroscience, okay? And some of the wording, I fine-tuned, as I said, to make it into everyone can understand, okay? A lot of words have been fine-tuned. Anyway, before I get into it, we know that each individual recovers differently. Okay. We know that people are out doing drives instead of walking. People are out walking instead of doing drives. Everyone's on their own recovery plan. For me, I 90% of my recovery was through running and jogging. So I'm using this case as this man, this neuroscientist from the University of Massachusetts. He also uses the method of running. Okay. So when you're reading it, that's just an example. Running is just an example. It doesn't matter if you crawl, fucking headstand, balance on one knee or one leg, or interfere. It doesn't matter. I jogged, which is kind of a very extreme way of recovery, which is why I recovered so quick. I was done with this, guys. I was done. My days were numbered. I had 10 years of this crap. I wasn't going to defeat me. I ran into this with cardiophobia and crippling agoraphobia where I couldn't go past 2 miles. And it took me a month and a half to get past that 2 mile radius. Okay. And I did it with jogging. Jogging with cardiophobia. You guys know how crazy that is. Okay. But I wanted my life back. So, okay. If I was going to die of a panic attack, so be it. I'm either going to live or I'll die. And look where I am now. Because I went deep into the fear. Exactly what I'm going to tell you guys tonight. Okay. Yeah. Share screen. Okay. Okay. Right. Can you all see the amygdala desensitization? Yeah, we all got it, guys. Yeah,
Yes.
amygdala
Yep.
desensitization. We're going to present it. Yeah, we all good? Let me see if I can get you all here and put this down. We don't need to see each other here. You guys just have to listen a little bit. Okay, amygdala desensitization. Now let's go from the start. Okay, this guy's name is Joshua Broman Fulks. Okay. And he has conducted a notable research on the relationship between aerobic exercise and anxiety. Now, remember, guys, just because you're here, I know what it's like to be stuck in an anxiety disorder and then hearing someone talking about exercise and running. You immediately just, it's like your brain just can't comprehend recovery in a way like, oh, I'll never jog, or I'll never play tennis again, or I'll never do anything. You just think like, oh well, I never ran in my life. This, I'm never gonna. You can't comprehend it. This isn't about jogging. This is about neuroplasticity and changing the brain. It's just using jogging merely as a form when we could have used different forms. Okay, so we're just going by the aerobic exercise. Okay, reason being, just go there, right? Google. You see where it says Google? Everyone say yes, yeah? We are you with us?
Yeah.
Yes.
Google.
Yep.
Right. Who has their phones beside them, even when
Me.
they're not on the laptop? Anybody?
Yeah.
Right. Go and
Yeah.
Google right now those exact words. How to burn off excess adrenaline in the body. If you have your phone, just Google that right now.
The only way to get rid of adrenaline is to burn it off with cardiovascular exercise.
Okay, great. That's Laura, yeah?
Lorna,
Lorna, sorry, Lorna. Lorna, so go on, list me those 10 things again.
um, saying cardiovascular exercise. Um,
Ah, you mean there's only what did it say? There's not a list?
no, just one.
Okay, there's no yoga or meditation or
The one
no?
and only way.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So if panic and anxiety is technically adrenaline in the body, and we're not even moving, we're stuck. Rats stuck in a cage, terrified by our own minds, life slipping away year after year, week after week. How to burn off excess adrenaline in the body. That's how I recovered. I got rid of all the adrenaline, but I had to go through a lot of fears and it was horrendous. Anyway, back to the top. This is why we're doing this study. It's a beautiful study. So Joshua Ruckman Fulks has conducted a notable research on the relationship between aerobic exercise and anxiety sensitivity. That's a key word. Anxiety sensitivity. You used to never be sensitive to anxiety, okay, until your nerves got sensitized. Particularly its role in managing symptoms of anxiety and panic. His study suggests that vigorous exercise like high intensity aerobic workouts can reduce anxiety sensitivity. If you pay everything that's underlined, we're going to have a little bit more focus on that. More effectively than the lower intense exercise, okay? Like the walking, okay? Like, I don't know, on a skateboard or something, okay? That's low intense exercise. You can still work. It doesn't matter if you walk into your fear. What happens is, if you are using this method of vigorous exercise, you recover quicker. That's a fact. That's one thing I'll say in regards to exercise if you want to treat the anxious state. If you're willing to exercise, most particularly in jogging, if your recovery was supposed to be a year, you could recover in 4 to 5 months. Okay. And I mean, that's not a guaranteed fact, but judging by myself and everything that I've read, and also the couple of people who have made full recoveries with me as well, and have added exercise into their routine, they recover quicker. Okay? Why? Well, running really, like when you're on a jog, you're in the middle of a panic attack. So you're consistently, if you're jogging every day, you're getting desensitized to the actual feelings, the thoughts that are pumping through your brain. You're actually really putting yourself into flooding, but it's voluntarily. That's the key word. It's voluntarily. Anyway, this reduction in sensitivity is crucial, okay? Because anxiety sensitivity involves the fear of anxiety related bodily sensations. Okay, anxiety sensitivity involves the fear of anxiety related bodily sensations. That's what anxiety sensitivity is. It needs fear. It needs you to fear these symptoms or thoughts, such as the increased heart rate or sweating, which is often the trigger of panic attacks. Okay? Through
Perfect.
rigorous
Perfect.
physical exercise. Yeah,
Fucking shit.
sorry, guys. Through rigorous physical activity, individuals exposed to these physical sensations in a controlled, non-threatening way can learn to interpret them differently. Instead of associating them with anxiety or danger, the brain begins to recognize them as normal bodily responses to exercise. This retrains the brain to respond with less fear, which can lower the likelihood of panic attacks in situations outside of exercise. When I recovered with my running, I could get on buses without panic. I could do walk miles without panic because I already did the running through all those places, burnt all my adrenaline off. Anyway, Dr. Brookman, his research supports this by showing that participants who engaged in regular high intense exercise reported a quick. Now, this is remember, guys, this is not about jogging. This is about the structural changes that happen in the brain because we are willingly going forward into, as you'll see in the next chapter. This isn't about running. We're just choosing this as a topic, okay? Because it's the best kind of topic you can kind of choose for this subject. And report a quicker, more significant reduction in anxiety sensory. Vigorous exercise acts as a form of exposure therapy, helping individuals to confront and adapt to sensations that they would otherwise find alarming and aid in overall anxiety management. And then I put down, go and Google how to burn off excess adrenaline. If panic and anxiety is adrenaline in the body, which let's not call them anxiety attacks, let's not call them panic attacks, let's call them adrenaline rushes. If we want to get rid of that, the only way to get rid of it in the body is to burn it off with cardiac exercise. Or obviously just letting it do its thing. If you're in the middle of a panic attack, just don't do anything. Okay? Anyway, we're gonna further move away from the exercise topic, and we're just gonna move on to, okay, guys, I want you guys to have a little read through that, okay, nice and slowly, and then I'm gonna read it again and go through it, and I'll be asking some questions, so really stay tuned. Okay, so we're going to touch on a couple of things. Cognitive misinterpretation, okay? The misinterpretation of basically thinking anxiety is dangerous is a cognitive misinterpretation. Okay, there's many examples of cognitive misinterpretations. Okay, but what he does, this work highlights the cognitive misinterpretation is literally at the heart of the anxiety. So it's a sensitivity, the anxiety sensitivity and the cognitive misinterpretation are both at the heart of the anxiety disorders. Okay. Specifically regarding anxiety sensitivity, as I just said there, his research suggests that people with high anxiety sensitivity interpret normal physical sensations like a racing heart or rapid breathing as dangerous, which can lead to an increase. It can lead to increased anxiety and panic attacks. The notion that anxiety is often rooted in a misinterpretation of these harmless, gentle, or unharmful physical symptoms is a key finding in his studies. Okay, because what he has done in his studies, he has basically what he did was he put 10 people, everyone had the same limit on their agoraphobic tendencies, some housebound and some only in a mile radius. And what he would do is he would gather these people and he'd have 10 going out on walks and 10 jogging. And what they would do was it was a 12-week program. Everyone that did the jogging was a million times recovering way quicker than those who were doing the walk because they were exposing themselves high levels of panic and anxiety in a controlled environment. So he would be with them and they would jog up. And a lot of them, what would happen is they would jog, and as soon as they're far away from him, they associated with him as like, oh, we're in this place, and you know, he's the qualified therapist, and he had a lot he has a lot of he's very decorated, and they basically just seen him as this like attaching safety to him. So the four that I got away from him, it's like me with my fire brigade station. They freaked out, you know. But over time, over time, they kept going out. They kept going out. And when they do that, you'll see what happens on the next slide. But the people that went into vigorous exercise recovered quicker because they're voluntarily bringing on their anxious sensations and symptoms at in a really powerful way through jogging. Like jogging is basically a panic attack. You know, if you're on a walk, you're controlled. You're not bringing on the panic. But obviously, with the panic disorder, we don't. I mean, walking can do it for us. Whatever gets you into that place, whatever gets you into your fear. And again, it doesn't matter if you scoot, you bloody go on rollerblades, you drive, it doesn't matter. But there is a bigger difference and speeds up recovery with running, particularly um um where is it? Vigorous exercise. Anyway, his research has demonstrated that vigorous exercise helps correct these misinterpretations by exposing the individuals to similar situations in a controlled, non-threatening way. Over time, the brain learns to associate these sensations with exercise rather than danger. This retraining reduces the fear associated with the physical symptoms of anxiety, then decreasing anxiety sensitivity and helping prevent panic attacks. His work supports the idea that by altering the way we interpret these sensations over time, you teach the brain that the symptoms are not dangerous and you can survive. You're reprogramming the misinterpretation. Again, all of this requires every bit of bravery from you and the level of self-discipline that you have never, ever, ever possessed. And this is what we all must do to win our lives back. So in this, again, it's very dominant on jogging. So let's break away from that. Guys, there's probably been I've been on with people and I've seen them recover. So many people. Maybe later into the journeys they pick up a little bit of exercise again. So I've yet to really come across another person who has kind of did it the way I did, but they still made full recoveries. You don't need vigorous exercise to recover. It's all about going into that fear, going into those horrible thoughts, those horrible sensations, and unlearning exactly what the neuroscience says there. And this is what I want you to read this. This is very important. The next two slides are really that's what's going to really hit home, okay? So fear itself, anxiety is fear, but what is fear? In neurological terms, fear is the memory of danger. If we suffer from an anxiety disorder, the brain constantly replays these memories, forcing us to live in that fear. It all starts when the amygdala sounds the survival call, but unlike the normal stress response, in anxiety disorder, the all clear signal isn't working properly. Little spelling mistake there. Ignore. Our cognitive processors fail to tell us that there is no problem or that it has passed and we can relax now. Now let's go back to there. Anxiety is fear. But what is fear? In neurological terms, fear is the memory of danger. Your brain right now is full of fear. Okay? If we suffer from an anxiety disorder, the brain constantly replays these memories. We go to sleep with them. We dream about them. Has anyone here had what I call agoraphobic dreams? When you're in
Yeah.
your dream? Yeah, everyone have agoraphobic dreams? I used to have one vividly. I'd be on a boat on the way to the UK with my mom and everyone. I had my phone. I would have this dream so vividly. And I'd lose my mom on the ship, on the boat, and my phone would go dead, and I would be panicking so much. And I'd be literally having a panic attack in my sleep. So even when I was sleeping, I didn't get a break from this shit. And I'd wake up just fully exhausted. Okay? And it's the memory of that. Okay? Because why? All I'm thinking about is anxiety every bloody goddamn day. for 10 years. That's all I know. So if we suffer from an anxiety disorder, the brain constantly replays these memories, forcing us to live in that fear. And it all starts when the amygdala sounds the survival call. But unlike the normal stress response, and in an anxiety disorder, the all clear signal isn't working properly. Our cognitive processors fail to tell us that there is no problem or that it has passed and we can relax now. There is so much noise in the mind from the sensory input of physical and mental tension that it clouds our ability to clearly assess the situation. This misinterpretation stems from partially from an amygdala that isn't effectively controlled by the prefrontal cortex. Now, one of the correlations scientists have found among people with panic anxiety disorders is that in brain scans, it shows that areas of the prefrontal cortex, remember the prefrontal cortex that is responsible for sending rational messages and responding to situations with good judgment and normalization. It's no longer in full control anymore. You're in an anxiety disorder. This part of your brain, the rationalization, ain't in full control anymore. Left unchecked, the overexcited amygdala tags too many situations as challenges to survival and burns them into memory. The fear memory form connections with each other and the anxiety snowballs. Eventually, the amygdala overwhelms attempts by the hippocampus to tone down the fight and flight response by putting the fear into context. It can't do that. It's not rational. As the snowball grows, more and more memories become associated with fear. Your world shrinks. Welcome to agoraphobia and extreme avoidance. Do you see how all this works? It is not what you once thought, and you can behave yourself out of it. And then if you can't see what it says there, it basically says no matter how long you have suffered. So let's talk about the prefrontal cortex. Laura. Laura, are you there?
Yep, I'm here.
Laura, the prefrontal cortex. What is this? What is this part of the brain? What does it do?
This is the part that makes you think rationally. Am I correct?
Yes. Excellent. And when it comes to someone who has so many panic attacks and we're feeling obviously terrified, why do you think the prefrontal cortex sounds like a very powerful thing, right?
Right, yeah.
All parts. But why would a certain part of the brain, like the amygdala, why does that have more power over the prefrontal cortex? Why is that?
I
Why does this little tiny little almond-shaped thing in the brain called the amygdala have the power to outmaneuver, to shoulder barge this beautiful prefrontal cortex that is responsible for rationalization and calm? Why does this structure, why is it so powerful?
I mean, I think because it kind of hijacked the frontal cortex of your brain, and then regardless of how small it is, it's just that fear that kind of hijacks that part, and then it's just becomes nothing compared to it.
Exactly. Because this part of the brain is made for your survival. If you're stuck in a survival situation, you don't want, you're hoping that well, you're not really hoping, but if you're stuck in an actual situation where you need your amygdala, you better hope that that's working. That'll make you survive. That's how human beings survived. We'd be all dead by now. That was the key mechanism in surviving in back in the Stone Age and shit like that. Okay, it was that little process in the brain. Okay, that kept us on high alert from predators, from everything. But in modern day, it's worse for us. And back then, we only had to worry about food and a wild boar or a lion. That was our only worries. Now we have trauma, stress. Human beings have become harder to deal with compared to back then. I mean, it's probably similar, but world events, you know, jobs, money, relationships. There's so much that the amygdala is tagging. Okay? But people have that anyway, don't have anxiety disorders. So that goes here or there. So how does this small, tiny part of the brain have so much power that, I mean, the prefrontal cortex is bigger. It takes up much more of the brain. Why the hell does this little almond-shaped thing in the brain, how does it have that much power? It's built for survival. Nothing else matters in your brain. Your brain's not made to make you happy. Your brain is there to make you survive. And without knowing the neuroscience behind this, this is what happened. This is what happened to me after my first panic attack. I fell into this, what we're looking at. This is exactly what has happened to you guys. So that's why I want you to understand that you can't be where you want to be just yet. You have so much to unlearn. You have an amygdala that is in full control here. And the only way that the amygdala can learn, I mean, who has been on here? Who has struggled and, read all the books, knows probably exactly what I'm talking about. Yet you've made no progress whatsoever. None. And you know all of this. Why? Because this amygdala only responds to your behaviors. And if you're doing the same shit every day, waking up and afraid to go down that road at that time because it's raining and your partner isn't in, or you call him and he doesn't answer his phone, and now you think there's something wrong, his phone's on silent. What if I go further? I want to go further. That's my test today. I want to go further, but I'm trying to call him and he's not answering. That means I have to go home just in case. All of that crap. That's why that structural part of the brain is in full swing, because you're feeding it. You're feeding it. You're doing the damage to it. You're keeping yourself stuck, and you got to own that. You got to own it in a way that you didn't know. It's justified why you're doing all the things you did. Justified why I lost 10 years of my life. Panic attacks are horrible. I didn't know the way out until I got desperate. I didn't know the way out. And I still didn't know the way out when I recovered. I just ran. I had no idea where I'd end up. I just said, I'm not living like this. I didn't technically go out and say, I'm going to change my life. This is how you recover. I'm going to go here, then start doing that, then start. I learned my way through it. When I was going through this processing, I would hit these places like the traffic light, and I couldn't get past it. I couldn't get past the traffic light. And I started over time, when I kept going, rationalization started to hit me. After a month and a half, I just realized one day, what, what on earth? Am I actually putting this earth to knock it past the bloody traffic light? Is that is that my life? A little bit of rationalization creeping in. Because I've been trying to break free from this for a month and a half, and I can't get past the damn traffic light. Then I got past it. And then I realized when I got past it, I went a bit further and my anxiety heightened because I couldn't see my safe places. But then when I'd come back, I'd feel I won. I feel I won something small, like a little seed was planted. So I kept going down that way. And then that traffic light became nothing. I would experience zero anxiety going to that traffic because my brain, it rewired. It all of the times I went down and stayed stuck to my discipline, stuck to it, showed it. I kept showing it the truth. I kept showing it nothing happens. But then obviously I had so much to learn. I kept going. And then I'd reach a different form of maybe the fifth tropical away from home. That became a blockage. So what did I do then? I kept going to the fifth, the fifth, the fifth, the fifth, the fifth, the fifth, until the day I was like, okay, fuck this. I need to push past this one now. And then I made it past that. And I was just winning. I kept picking up these psychological wins, daily psychological wins. And then getting to these big milestones where I was like, I haven't done this in 6 years. I haven't seen this place in 6 years. I haven't. You see how it all starts to slowly come back? Anyway, this is very important. Fear extinguishing. Now, this sounds like a really nice word, right? I want you guys to read through this really slowly, and then we're going to pick it up again, okay? Nice and slow. It's really important to understand the neuroscience of this, because reading this gives you confidence. Reading this realizes, okay, I'm in a little bit of battle, not with my anxiety and panic. I'm in the battle to win back control and get rid of the amygdala's stronghold over my life. So this battle and this, I need to overcome it, is not getting, I need to get rid of my panic attacks and my anxiety. It becomes a battle, a willingness to go and face your amygdala and all these places that it's tagged as dangerous. Start feeling in your house. Some people don't even like being in their house. I've had so many panic attacks in there. Okay. So fear extinguishing. Okay. How can I trick out? Let's see who read it. Let's see who was paying attention. Okay. The part where it says we build connections in the prefrontal cortex that help calm the amygdala, which makes us feel safe, and then the brain records a memory of that feeling. Okay? So I'm going to read that out again. We build connections in the prefrontal cortex that help calm the amygdala, which makes us feel safe, and then the brain records a memory of that feeling. Jimmy,
Yeah.
read that sentence again. We build connections in the prefrontal cortex that help calm the amygdala, which makes us feel safe, and then the brain records a memory of feeling. Can you read that out, please?
We build connections in the prefrontal cortex that help calm the amygdala, which makes us feel safe, and then the brain records a memory of that feeling.
Excellent. Thank you. And in your own words, right now, there's no wrong or right answer. What does that mean to you? What I mean is, how how can that happen? If we want to build new connections in the prefrontal cortex, and Jimmy, can you say what the prefrontal cortex is again?
Um, can I say what it is? Let me think. Well, it's the opposite of the amygdala, right?
Yeah. What is it responsible for?
Um,
It's more
oh,
the
it's
rational
the
part.
irrational thinking, that's it.
Yeah, it's for rational thinking. The amygdala is irrational, okay?
Yeah.
So when the amygdala in your brain, your amygdala is in charge. So if the amygdala is irrational, what is your more dominant, I guess, state of being right now? Because your
Yep.
prefrontal cortex isn't in control right now. So,
Hmm.
what do you think with the way you're currently right now, just right now, what's your current state? Are you more dominated by your amygdala or your prefrontal cortex?
Yeah, my amygdala because it fires whenever I'm in a negative
Yeah,
situation or a
exactly.
fearful situation.
So, what book can we read to make our amygdala? What book can we read, or what Reddit form, or what video on YouTube, or what other presentation from Glenn that I'm reading out now can make us have that psychological switch over from going from a brain that's stuck in amygdala activation to then go to a more dominant prefrontal cortex activation. What kind of literature can we, I mean, can we change that with literature? How do we change that? How do we go from being stuck in the high alert with the amygdala to then eventually the prefrontal cortex become the most dominant part of our lives and as our brain? What kind of literature, what can we read to fix that problem?
Well, I'd say it's mainly through exposing yourself to that situation rather than
Yes,
reading.
very. I'm delighted you said that. It was a tough question.
Yeah.
Okay. There's no literature. There's no book. There's none of this shit with Glenn here reading it out. It's behavior. That's what will change it. Thank you very much, Jimmy. Excellent. You understanding a bit, Jimmy, now, yeah?
Hmm.
You're not you're not at war with your panic and anxiety. You're at war with your amygdala. And still treat that with care. Be happy that that exists within you. It's a beautiful process. We need it. Okay, you don't want to be at war, any kind of part, but we kind of need to have that little bit of a mindset, of I'm gonna get my life back because we respond to that with anger and we need that. We need a bit of anger. We need a bit of come on. You think you're gonna defeat me? You think you're gonna destroy my life? You don't know who the fuck you're messing with. We need some of that. Okay, so we build connections in the prefrontal cortex that help calm the amygdala, which makes us feel safe, and then the brain records a memory of that feeling. Now, just like the amygdala, when we had our panic attacks, anxiety, retreat, 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 can't go here now, can't go there, can't go here at that time, that, we have burnt so much crap into the amygdala that it's now our dominant. It's now our, that's why we dream about it. That's why we obsess about it. The prefrontal cortex might as well be non-existent because this part of the amygdala is way more powerful than the prefrontal cortex. But the only way to get that psychological switch over is with your behavior. The only reason you're in this in the first place so deep is because of your behaviors. If you continuously do the same things every single day and not expose yourself to this fear, like people, I have some people come on, but Glenn, I don't want to feel anxiety. Well, you're in the wrong place. You're in the wrong place. That's why I'm so proud of you all. Why, unbelievable. That's why I'm so proud of you. Taking on this work is very challenging. Okay, it's your life. It's not to be messed with. But coming on and saying, but I don't want to feel anxious. Well, you're in the wrong place, and it's not the right time for you to recover then. Because if you want your life back, you're gonna have to feel excruciating thoughts, whatever you have to go through, you go through. If you want your life back, it's okay. That's the process that's gonna happen anyway. If you don't do it now, whether it's with me or someone else, and you do it the correct way, it's going to be with this. This is the way. Okay, it ain't my words. Okay, I've worded it in a way that makes sense to us all. Okay, so Here's another little thing I want you to pay attention, okay? Here's another great analogy of fear extinction. Okay, I want you to pay really, I really want you, guys, can everyone go on mute for a second, please? Thank you very much. Right, guys, pay really close attention to this, okay? Fear extinguishing. Okay, I'm going back to Jimmy. Jimmy,
Mm.
fire, a fire extinguisher. Yeah?
Mm-hmm.
Let's say a fire extinguisher, let's say there's a fire 10 miles away, okay?
Mm.
And your fire extinguisher only shoots as far as 1 mile,
Yeah.
okay? How are you going to put out that fire?
Unlikely.
Highly unlikely, okay? Why are you not moving close to the fire? What does a fire signify to the human mind? Like, even for a
Danger.
dog or a cat? Yes. Are you going to run into it? Of
No.
course not. But if your life is the fire and this big fire is your life, and
Mm.
in that fire is your happiness, your freedom, but this big, huge flame and this fire is so terrifying and scary. But you know your life is in this fire, and all you have is a fire extinguisher that shoots a 1 mile radius.
Mm.
What are you going to slowly start to do?
Go into the fire slowly.
Slowly.
Say
And you're
say
going to
grace.
realize, exactly, you're going to realize that, oh my God, this is only, I'm not really going into this sphere. I'm still 10 miles away. I think I'm doing the right way. Why? Because I have the right tool. Yeah. Because that's what we think we're doing the right thing. When we're going in our little cars, we're not going into it straight. We're not going into it, we're not going into it willingly. We're not going into it with knowing what's actually on the other side because it's very hard to believe. So if you want to start putting out that fire, it's a big ass fire, okay? So here's what happens. You're going to get really brave. Number one, you're going to become rational. How are you going to become rational? Well, what you're going to realize is I have a fire extinguisher. It goes 1 mile, but in order to put the fire out, I need to get closer because it's 10 miles away. So I'm squirting this fire extinguisher and I'm wasting my fucking time. And as you get closer, you get closer, you get closer. What happens if you get closer to a fire? What happens? You get colder? No.
Mm.
You start to feel hot, warm, intensified. Yeah? But so what you do is you go really close up to 1 mile radius. It's not comfortable. It's horrible. And all you have to do is empty that fire extinguisher and it can take 2 minutes, 5 minutes, 10 minutes. You can only use one fire extinguisher a day. So what do you do after that? You go home. Yeah? Go back to sleep. The next day, a fresh fire extinguisher will be waiting for you. Dun, 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 dun. Back down to the fire. Same thing happens because you're not going to put this big fire extinguisher has been going on for 20, or this big fire has been going on for years. It's a big bonfire. You're not going to put it out with one fire extinguisher. A fire extinguisher in this symbolizes small psychological wins. Your brain realized, oh, I got really close to that. I still made it home. Ching. Great. Next time you go down, still terrified, but you get close enough, shh, you empty the fire extinguisher. It's done correctly. You know that with consistent fire extinguishers, what's going to happen? Nothing's going to happen after one, two, or three. Jimmy, if I keep going with the fire extinguisher a mile up to this and I spray the fire extinguisher 100 times, what do you think is going to happen to that fire?
Gonna get smaller.
Yeah. And if a fire gets smaller, do you think it'll be as hot?
Mm-mm.
Mhm. And visually seeing something go from, and it's by your doing. You did it. Man in the fucking moon didn't do it. You were the brave one. that stepped towards that fire when it was fucking huge and boiling and sprayed one little fire extinguisher. And guess what you thought? Well, that's not going to do any difference. A little fire extinguisher? Yeah, didn't. But over time, every day, going to face it, it hurts, it stings, it's horrible. But Laura, what did I say lies in that fire?
Um,
Laura,
yeah. What lies in the
what did I,
fire?
what lies in that fire? I
Oh, yeah,
symbolized the fire
freedom,
as
freedom, your
yes,
happiness, your just everything in that fire. I feel like, yeah.
exactly. So this is a beautiful analogy of fear extinguishing. Okay? I don't know where I come up with that analogy. Okay? I thought I made up that a couple of years ago on a random call, and I just thought it was a very beautiful analogy. Because when you recover from the anxiety disorder, all the books that I read when I was in it, they make total sense now. It's like seeing it from a different world. So this process that I'm talking about, fear extinguishing, you can articulate that in a different way when you've recovered. You can then see. And that's what I did. I just went out every day into this big, huge fucking fire that I was terrified of. But I knew my life is in that. It's uncomfortable. It's more than uncomfortable. It's terrorizing. But my life is in that fire. And I know logically that if I can only use one fire extinguisher a day, it's going to take time. So I did. I'm going to have some bad days. Sometimes I mightn't be as, and I wasn't as brave. Sometimes I would have all intentions of getting close to that fire and I'd retreat and I'd go home. The next day, I'd go with all the good intentions again, like this defeated me. I'm going to get it today. And it would defeat me again. And I kept going and I kept going. And eventually I got down and I could get a good psychological win. You can't always get the psychological wins every day. Okay? It's challenging. It's hard. But you do something. You get as close as you can to that fire and then you turn home. Okay? Because every time you're getting closer to the fire, you're showing your brain nothing actually happens. I'm still making a home every day. I'm still having the same thoughts. I'm still having these anxiety and panic attacks, but I'm doing it correctly. Even with the failure of not making it close enough to the fire to extinguish it, you're still doing it correctly. Why are you doing it correctly? Because you're choosing to get in your car or to walk anywhere than stay at fucking home and doing the same shit you've done for years. So you're winning. And you failed so many times before you can put out that fire. Okay. Fear extinction. Facing the fear. How can we truly heal ourselves of anxiety disorders? Well, the answer lies in a neurological process called fear extinction. Okay? While we can't erase the original fear memory so easily, we can essentially drown it out by creating a new memory and reinforcing it. William?
Yeah, I know.
To reinforce something, William, what can you tell me the word reinforcing? Like if you're going to reinforce something, just if you're just explaining to your kid, Daddy, what's reinforcement? How do you explain that?
I think quite a few terms on that, but with reinforced like terms of panic.
Well, if you're trying to create a new memory by reinforcing it, tell me what that
Well, I
sentence
think
means.
I done that yesterday. I think I actually done
Mhm.
that yesterday. So I don't. I posted on the WhatsApp group yesterday of shit morning I had, and it was a morning I had that just before I got in contact with yourself. So everything happened the same. Memories came back, but I kind of I've done exactly what you learned me to do. And to be honest with you, it didn't really bother me. So I think that's reinforcement that it doesn't really matter
Exactly.
how bad it is.
Re
Nothing's going to happen.
rein Fantastic, man. Fantastic. And reinforcement is
Yeah,
basically consistent action doing the same thing. Okay? You're reinforcing something. Okay? So if you have a fear of having a panic attack in a store and you're consistently avoiding it, you're technically reinforcing the memory that this is dangerous. So in order to create a new memory, we can essentially drown it out by creating a new memory and reinforcing it. Okay? By building up parallel circuitry to the fear memory, the brain creates a neural alternative to the expected anxiety, learning that everything is okay. This takes time, guys. By wiring in the correct interpretation, the trigger is disconnected from the typical response that we're all used to, weakening this association between, let's say, someone seeing a spoiler and experiencing terror, the racing heart. Scientists call it reattribution, okay? Exposing ourselves to our fears, physical or mental. We can have mental fears and no physical, okay? Like Lorna, for example, she would fear more of the mental side of things, all the thoughts, rather than she doesn't give really a crap about the physical compared to the mental. All right, Lorna? Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
So let's not overlook this ain't all physical. Okay, so exposing ourselves to our fears, physical and mental. Oh, I'm gonna be in this car and I'm gonna drive off the road. Oh yeah, thought that for fucking 10 years. Here you still are. Okay, but be willing to say, I don't care having that talk on over this bridge. I'm going over it. Exposing ourselves to the fears, physical or mental, in small doses or gradually, especially with agoraphobics. Nothing has to be done quickly here with techniques such as flooding. Flooding, well, agoraphobics. The 2 mile radius flooded the shit out of me. Why the hell would you put me in a car to go an hour down the road to feel the same way? No, no, completely wrong. It takes time. Okay, it takes time. That's why a lot of general therapists, they don't understand. They'll just tell you, well, you're bringing your bottle of water. What are you bringing that for? I don't know, I just feel safe with it. Yeah, stop bringing it. Okay. And you can't go past that traffic light. Why? I just fear I'm gonna die. Like, it's horrible. Like, I'm doing it for 10 years. I can't get past it. Go past it today. Don't bring that bottle of water. Don't bring your phone. You have to go in and flood yourself. No, you don't. No, you don't. Bring your safety behaviors and go do it. You'll still flood yourself because it's hard. So if something's going to make you do it the correct, necessarily it's not the correct way, but it's at least you're moving. At least you're getting some form of, a different neural pathway being associated. You're getting a win, whether you have to bring your water, a Xanax tablet in your sock, a bloody banana, you know, whatever. You go and do something. Some people with panic and agoraphobia only have to go 2 minutes from home and they're flooded with panic. So it's not correct to push them deeper until some form of confidence is built up. That's why recovery, that's why people stop. That's why people have good 3 or 4 days and say, fuck me, I'm exhausted. Yeah, you're going too far. You don't have to be going miles from home. You have to kill off the psychology in your local areas. Okay? Win back your local area first. Be able to be in your local area and enjoy the coffee shops there before you're able to enjoy them an hour from home. Okay? Because you don't have to go to once an hour from home when you can just go to your local ones. You're still going to panic like shit and want to go home. Okay? But so much cognitive reconstruction can happen in a 5 mile radius from home, a 2 mile radius. Okay? This process done correctly you will then start to have no panic in these areas you have exposed yourself to so much. William, when you got on the train, one stop, first, second, third day was quite terrifying, right?
Oh, first
Exposing
time.
yourself over
I'll never
time.
forget that.
One stop after 2 weeks, what was it like for you?
The first time I got it, I'll be honest with you, I'll be honest with you, I don't remember it because I was just that afraid of it.
Yeah. But can you see where this is all making sense now? Like you expose yourself so much to one stop that you knew in your brain you weren't even getting any anxiety at one stop now. So we basically completed that chapter. Let's move on to no three stops. The same process would happen again. Uh-oh, three stops. What if the train gets stuck? What if it breaks down? What if I have to put this is far from home? This is three stops now. It's not one. We're really in the deep end here. Same process happened over in your brain again. All the worries, everything kicked in. And then the same process happened again. Three stops was nothing for you. In fact, you began to like it. I remember the smile on your face. I remember the buzz. It was great buzz, wasn't it? You get a good buzz from it. Like you feel like you're winning at life, William. I remember those times for you. We're gonna get you back on track to do the new recovery plan. And this process done correctly, you will start to have no panic in these areas you've exposed yourself to. That doesn't mean you're free of the panic disorder. It means you're free of the panic in those areas. Okay? Which means you get a little bit more freedom. And you know that something's working. Then the brain will go through cognitive reconstruction. Okay? We build connections in the prefrontal cortex that help calm the amygdala, which makes us feel safe. And then the brain records that memory of that feeling. When we keep doing this, we get the neurotransmitters and the neurotropic factors blustering the circuits between the prefrontal cortex and the amygdala, providing further control and creating a snowball effect. So in essence, what I'm trying to say is by consistently going into your fear, your amygdala, when you're clocking up these small psychological wins, just like you're going into the fire and spraying a little fire extinguisher thinking, well, this little fire extinguisher ain't gonna do shit. Look at the size. It's like it's 50 foot high. How the fuck am I gonna get this little fire extinguisher? Oh yeah? Do it 150 days in a row, then come back to me. The fire will be almost put out. You will have gained so much confidence. I went into that fire every day. You don't even fear it anymore. You can't wait to put the last bit out. But you can still only. Then what'll happen is sometimes the fire extinguishers get a little bit bigger. Or sometimes we can carry two. Okay, because we get a little bit more strength. What we thought was possible, we thought we could only carry one fire extinguisher. That was our belief. And then we realized, oh, I have a bit more confidence now. Let me try carry two. You're getting stronger. You're getting stronger. Okay, and what's happening is, again, from neuroscience, is what's happening is with this process, you're showing your amygdala you're not in fear, but you have to go through so much fear to stop the fear. It's a paradox, and it's the only way. But we learn so much. We have so much growth with this. Okay? And what we're trying to do here is we're trying to establish normality in the prefrontal cortex. And we can't do that without all of the exposures, all of the months of hard work. Why? Because this has been going on for so long. And we're dealing with a part of the brain that's way more stronger than the prefrontal cortex. We can't think ourselves out of that crap, guys. Okay? Now, c'est fini. Done. Everyone is going to. One second, let me get this back. Where are you guys? Okay. Let me get you guys back up. Okay. Michelle. Michelle, are you there?
Yeah, hey Glenn.
Hey man, how are you?
Good, good. How are you?
What did you learn from that, Michelle? What can you tell me by what you're doing right now? Can you tell me where you can kind of say, I think I know where I'm going wrong. I know what I have to do and what I'm scared to do. Is it making sense why your brain is not letting you go forward to do these things while you're feeling a bit stuck going
Yeah,
down
exactly.
south?
Because I know in theory what I'm supposed to do. I rationally know what I'm supposed to do, and I feel like I know the way out. I just feel like I'm um, too scared to face it. Even though that you say, because it's hard to when someone tells you, well, you know, your life is over there when you can't actually see what you're going towards. It's not something physical you can see. So it's yeah. So
You're right.
that's I think.
It goes back to the psychology of, uh, in the morning, I hate my fucking job. I don't want to get up. Someone with that psychology. And I'm only making 10 euros an hour. Okay. Every morning when you wake up, here's a new deal for you. Every morning you wake up, £10,000 goes into your bank account when you get into work at 9 a.m. You think that person liked the job now?
Yeah,
You fucking damn right they will. Why? Because it's a given. They know. They
yeah,
know.
because
It's tested
you
then.
can
They
see
wake
the
up.
payoff.
Say that again.
You can see the payoff. You can
Yeah,
check your bank account. You see, oh, this is
exactly.
this is what I'm getting. Yeah.
Spot on. Spot on. And in anxiety recovery, you can't see that. Eventually, you do. Bit by bit by bit. You're not seeing it yet. Why? Because you haven't gone into
Because
it,
I'm not
Tim. You
doing
haven't
enough.
gone into it. Exactly. That's okay. Why? Because it's fucking hard.
Mhm.
It's like many people here. Like me. Couldn't get past shock for a month and a half. It's okay. You're going to get past it. You're going to get pissed off. Okay? And you can't see it.
Right.
It's not, it's not something you see. It's not something you see. So you're almost going into something that like you don't even believe it. I couldn't believe when I recovered. I couldn't believe it. I I literally went home after 3.5 months of exposing myself, and I was waking up with zero anxiety for the first time in 10 years. All the time. Like, man, I remember coming home from these runs, these jogs, and I come home, I'm like, man, something's happening. I don't know what it is. Something's happening, ma'am. I don't feel anxious or panicky. I haven't had a panic attack, and because what happens is you'll start to notice that, wow, I haven't had a panic attack. And although I was going into I'd have the adrenaline rush, but when I'm home, I'm not left with that feeling of shame that I'm not taking action. I'm stuck. I was winning, and I felt good. And then again, I was going into the fire with this fire extinguisher once a day, and I kept putting out the fire, kept putting out the fire, out the fire. 3.5 months I went in with a fire extinguisher. Some days I'd retreat. Retreating is part of learning also. Retreating, I'm not going to call it failure. Okay? But, okay, got to use failure. You got to fail. You got to fail. Failure is part of the rationalization. Failure of like coming to the rationalization and the realization. What am I actually, why am I afraid to go past the traffic light? Why? Why? And you will go past it. Okay, so you need failure. You need to be going in, and the anger's there and the shame. You need all those dark emotions as well. Okay. Um. So yeah, Michelle, in regards to getting your life back, you have to go into that big, huge fire with one little fire extinguisher, and then you go back home. Next day, go into it again, go into it again, go into it again. That's just not what you're doing right now. Perfectly justified.
Yeah,
Why?
yeah.
Your amygdala is in total control. It's okay. There's no shame in this shit. Okay?
All right.
We will get there. Rosa,
Yeah,
was there anything
I'm
you
here.
picked up? Was there anything you picked up in that workshop? It was a little bit different compared to last week's. I'll just chew all that together yesterday. It was different than last week's because I wanted to point out the fire extinguishing part with the fire extinguisher moving towards the fire, all this type of
Yeah.
stuff. What do you feel any form of like, and this goes for everybody, like, I know the way now. I know what to do. You feel a little bit more confident in that.
Yeah, definitely.
You see how it's
Definitely.
a process. You see the process here. You're only
Yes.
allowed one
Yes.
fire extinguisher a day.
Yeah,
Okay?
these explanations help so much.
Hmm. Fires are
Yeah.
scary. Don't want to get burnt. Even though you know your life is in that fire, you're still not going to jump in. You're going to do the rational thing.
Yeah, and
Jump
that
into the fire.
thing about exercise, those slides before, I definitely can see myself in that. Because when I do exercise, I feel a little less anxious, more less anxious.
Yeah. So the next step for you would be going a non-stop jog down to the beach without stopping. How would you feel about doing that?
Yeah, great, great. I
Great.
just need
Okay.
to
Excellent. We
rest
can
my
add that
ribs
in.
a little more.
Yeah. We when you're healed, you can do that.
Yeah.
But do you see, guys, what parts of the brain are at play here? Do you see how you're going to overcome this? It's hard. That fire is fucking terrifying. And you know your life is in it. You can't get to it yet. You have to be patient. You have to be patient. But knowing that your life is in that fire, I'm going out every day and I'm going to try something. I know I can't get to it right now. I know this is a powerful element, a fire. But logically, I know if I keep putting the fire extinguisher on it, I can finally dampen it down to, then I can stand on the fire and get my life back. It happens over time. Because you only get one fire extinguisher a day. You can't call the fire brigade. There's no quick fix. Because you can't call the fire brigade. After having all these habits in your amygdala, you can't call the fire brigade. You can't bring 6 or 7 bottles of you can't be William in his van and fill up a shitload of fire extinguishers and go close to the fire and spray them all and get rid of it in one night. Doesn't happen like that. You don't even want it to happen like that. Why? There's no learning, no realizing how brave you are to go into that fire every single fucking day. How hard it is, wanting to go, getting there, and then you can't pull the trigger. You're like, it's too hot, I need to go home. Go home and rest. No shame. Go back again. Go back again. Go back, fail. Go back, fail. You're not always going to spray that fire extinguisher on it, but you better move. Because your life is in that fire. Okay, guys. Anyone got any questions? We're an hour and 20 minutes in. Someone give me a question. I don't like when it's too quiet. Alison,
I'll
Laura's
ask
going to say something.
I'll ask a question. So you kind of like, I remember you kind of said, and correct me if I'm wrong, but when we first, can you hear me?
Yes, gotcha.
Okay. When we first started, it kind of like, you kind of said like you can kind of gauge like how long it would take somebody to like be where they need to be. How do you go about that, or like what helps you gauge that in a person? Just like their willingness?
A lot of things. So
Okay.
the first, I've been working with people for nearly 5 years now, every day, Monday to Sunday. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
In the first year, no one can call that shot. And
Yeah.
still now, I can't call that shot, but I can gauge.
Yeah.
I can gauge. And I can gauge that by a couple of things.
Uh-huh.
You notice the more desperate someone is,
Mm-hmm.
and you can pick up that quite quickly. The
Yeah.
more desperate someone is, the bigger chance they have of recovery. Because I still have people coming on saying, but Glenn, I don't want to feel anxious.
Mm.
Ain't for you. I'm not going
Yeah.
to come on here and mollycoddle you and what, just take money from you. I'm on here to try to change fucking people's lives. I'm not messing around here.
Yeah.
Okay? So keep your money and go somewhere else. If you're not going to put
Mm.
in the work, don't be on
Yeah.
here. Stay with the other YouTubers or whoever you think's going to help you. I'm here to put full support into you. And it's not
Mhm.
easy.
Yeah.
And it's my emotional energy as well. I care about people.
Mm-hmm.
I have a duty of care for people on here. Okay? Which is why I only work with select individuals. I don't work with hundreds of people. I have no intention to do that. Select groups, select people willing to get their lives back. So I can gauge that from people's energy,
Yeah.
from just talking to people every single day with certain words that they say. Some people cry. Some people are so desperate. Some people tell me that they're missing out with stuff with their kids and this and that. Those
Mm.
things, because I know that they have meaning then.
Yep.
So I can never and will never, and no one can ever come on and tell you, Laura, okay, you're gonna come on and work with me in 3 months on a Wednesday at 6 o'clock in the morning. You're good to go.
Yeah.
What? What? Are we playing God here? I don't know
Mm.
when you're going to recover, but I can get a
Yeah.
good gauge of it, which I'll
Mm-hmm.
give you a good gauge.
Yeah.
Okay. But I can be completely wrong. You
Yeah.
could say I'm too scared, I don't want to do it. Okay. So good question. It's just natural instincts from doing it for such a long time.
Yeah. Thank you
A
for your
lot of people pick, huh?
thank you for your passion. I know I appreciate it from like the bottom of my heart, really, truly. It even makes me emotional, but I just truly like so thankful.
You're more than welcome, Laura. Listen, this is so dear to my heart. It's so dear. Like I know what it's like, and I know there's a way out. To sit back and not give this information and push. I didn't want that at the start. I remember my girlfriend saying like, because I had a YouTube video when I was posting how I recovered and stuff. So many people are emailing me, and I'd show my girlfriend, and they weren't just natural emails. They were like, "Wow, this video changed my life. I left my house for the first time in the year. I did this, I did that, I did this, I did that." And I'd show my girlfriend like, "That's cool, isn't it?" We'd be lying in
Yeah.
bed like just showing the comments, and she'd say like, "Why don't you like make more videos?" And I was like, "Are you crazy? I'm
Mm.
dealt with panic attacks for fucking 10 years. You want me to talk to people with panic attacks? It's the last thing I ever want to do. I don't want to hear the word again.
Yeah.
Never." But these messages kept coming, kept coming, kept coming, kept coming, got more beautiful. And I decided to give it a go one day. I tested this method on a guy called Thomas Mitchell, who kept emailing me, okay, from the UK,
Mm-hmm.
Birmingham, and a guy from the United States. I tested this. I said, I'm going to talk to these people every day on a call, and let's see if this works. And I called them every day on the phone at a specific time, had both of them actually running, and they both made full recoveries. From being housebound to then going, Thomas went 4 hours down to his girlfriend that he'd never been to her house.
Wow.
And then a couple of months later, out of nowhere, when I wasn't even talking to him, sent me a picture of him on a plane.
Mm.
And that's when I realized, okay, I'm going to set up this coaching and I'm going to do it my way. I'm not going to bring people on and trust them to make the decisions because you won't fucking do it. I'm not going to put I'm not going to put that in your hands. I need to push it. I need to push it. And there has been cases, even with me there, still super difficult for people, still super hard, but I'll always have your back. And it's always okay to say, can't do it today, that's fine. But this is the model I believe in. You can't leave this up to people. You'd be all recovered by now. Why? Because you all have the correct information. So why aren't you recovering? You all probably know the neuroscience what I read out. Why aren't you recovering? It's too damn hard to do alone. You need something else. And that's what I found. So it's no need to thank me. When you're fully recovered, maybe okay, I'll accept the thank you. But again, you'll thank yourself first. Because I always say to people here, like, you're out panicking. I'm cushy drinking a sip of water. I've gone into my fire. I've put my fire out. Now you got to do the same. Why? Your life is in that fire. So thank you, Laura. Any other questions, guys, before we finish up?
Yeah,
Anybody?
I've got one, Glenn.
Yes, William?
Yesterday, bud, as I said, anxiety got me pretty tough. I managed that pretty well. But yesterday evening, about 8 o'clock, 8:30, I was on my way home from work, and you know that feeling where you can feel the panic coming on. And straight away, I was looking what to do. So I'll be honest with you, Glenn, I was going to actually give you a WhatsApp call. I said I wouldn't anyway. So I've done absolutely nothing. Would you say that was the right thing to do? I'll be honest with you, today I feel perfect today. I went for a run.
I think
But then
in your case,
sorry, go
I
ahead.
think in your case, anyway, I have one little adjustment that I am trying to make to your recovery plan before I give it to you. Because you need a little shift in your recovery plan. So still waiting on that,
Yeah,
which I'll hopefully have to you by Friday before we get on a call. And that's going to give you a new lease of life.
yeah,
Okay. Um, but doing the right thing, William, you're not giving yourself enough credit for what you've done. Okay. You're not like you've done so much. And again, you've gone so much into the fire and you've done all the bravery stuff. You've done all the discipline. And I know you a lot now, and you'll agree with me when we get onto the recovery plan and I explain this is your last 10%. And I know
yeah,
you'll agree with me on it. Hopefully to have it done by Friday because it's a bit of a presentation, okay?
yeah. No
To
worries.
explain where you are. And you're in a lucky place, okay? Because usually what happens, 9 out of 10 people, 90% of people that I work with, their last kind of 10% will be still a big lump of behavior, like getting the flight, going miles from home, going and getting stuck in traffic. It lies, the last 10% lies in there where we have to say, we have to go into that.
Yeah,
Let's
yeah, I
kill
get
it.
you.
But for you, you've done that. Okay, you didn't get on the plane. So what? What you'd feel on the plane, you're gonna feel it. What you've done in in that traffic, going to work every day, you're exposing yourself every day anyway. So there's no behavioral work left to do. What's left to do on your side is more of a different psychological approach to when we get on the call. I
Yeah.
have certain specific questions that I'm going to ask you, and then I'm going to show you how to deal with those thoughts that come up, not the
Mm,
sensations. I don't need to talk you through the sensations. I know it's more the thoughts for you.
yeah,
You go deep back into how bad it was, and
yeah, yeah,
you over catastrophize, which is okay. I don't want to ever go back into that state again. But you've put in so much work that it's going to take a little bit of time for you to ever, it'll be months for you ever to go back into that state. Okay?
yeah,
Even with the work you've done now. So don't fear that. All the work you've done, what we talked about, the neurotransmitters and how your amygdala has a little bit more freedom now. Your prefrontal cortex is a bit more dominant.
yeah,
Okay? You definitely did a lot of work where your prefrontal cortex is It has a bit of rationality there, okay?
Yeah.
But the only thing I would say is you should have called me, okay?
I was gonna, but
Because
then I thought
there's
to myself, just look, that's kind of the safety behavior thing. I kind of, as you said, you kind of rationally think I don't need to call them, so I just said, look, I'll crack on with the day. But do you ever just think straight away I was going to start reading things and I was going to start listening to YouTube? So I just said, well, I'm not going to do nothing now. I'm just going to let this pass. And to be fair, it did pass in about an hour or two. I felt pretty cool again. So wasn't sure if I went the right road or I should have done something else. So yeah, well, I'm pretty happy how it went. I feel like paying off what I've learned with you over the last while. So
it
before,
was
if that
perfect.
happened to me, it'd take me 3 months to get over it. If I'm being honest with you, literally probably 3 or 4 months. Today I was back to work, perfect.
Brilliant. Excellent. Again, you're reinforcing things the correct way, William. And the only reason why
Yeah,
I said, yes, it's a safety behavior if you called me. But when have you ever
yeah,
called me?
yeah. I suppose so. Yeah, good point.
Never. You've never called me. Some
Yeah,
people do. And constantly, if they do, I'll just can't do it. It's okay every now and again. But you never called me. So if you called me, it's going to be for a reason. So
yeah.
that's what I just would have said. Could have given me a little call. Other than that, perfect. Glad you didn't.
Appreciate it.
Anyway, guys, and William, I hope to have that onto you by Friday, okay?
Yeah, no rush, but whenever you're ready. Appreciate it.
No problem. And again, guys, I'm super proud of you all because
Glenn,
going into that foyer, yes,
Glenn,
Laura,
can I ask something
yes,
just on the back of Williams? The same thing
absolutely.
today with me going to get my nails done. I didn't let the group chat or nobody know that I was getting it done. I just went on ahead, and when it was nearly done, then that's when I sent the picture in to say that I've done it. I didn't want to go into the group chat or even contact you with thinking I thought the same. That's me using a safety measure. I wanted to not use that and to sit
Yeah,
with all them emotions on my own.
perfect. That's
Um,
excellent.
so was that like the best thing to do and not use?
100%.
Yeah.
This group is for support.
Mm-hmm.
You need support in your darkest times to get you. I mean, 3 months ago, what would you have done? You would have texted the group.
Oh, I'd have been, yeah, yeah,
So why didn't you do it? You're getting a little bit more confident, right?
yeah. And it was
Yeah.
harder, especially because today I felt 90% better with my migraine. And I woke up this morning and I decided, right, I've had a few days off. I didn't want to jump head first and dive straight into it. So that's why I went for the walk. But the minute I left the walk, I thought to myself, no, why am I holding back? Go and get your nails done. You know, push again, push hard again, just keep going. Because I'm happy with at the level where I'm at now, because I am pushing nearly every day. Um,
And I love that, Lorna, too. Everyone that goes through these panic attacks and agoraphobic, we pick up this trait of we believe we're not brave and we believe that, oh, I haven't had enough sleep, so I can't function. Or, a great method that I mostly use with women is for the first couple of times, every woman will have their time of the month. They'll have their period. And, I'll gauge every woman's different. And some can have a day off, 2 days, 3 days, however. But then there comes to a point, maybe 3 or 4 months in with certain women, and I'll say, I don't care.
yeah,
Go. Why am I saying that? Why am I saying that? To build mental strength. I
yeah,
know you're hurting. I get man flu. I know what a period is like. It's worse.
yeah,
But
yeah,
but I push them even when the women are on their period because I
yeah,
want to make them stronger. And I don't want to be in the mindset of, listen, it's hard. Okay. Us lads, we don't know what that's like. We can only assume. But the pain, to do something with pain after doing nothing when you feel remotely anxious, we're changing everything. So that's what I'll even do with some women. Mostly maybe a day after. Let the period calm down, and then usually they spend like 3 or 4 days without even contacting me because they're in the period now, they ease off. No, not after a couple of months. Get out, do your work. I don't care.
Yeah.
Mental strength. Because you prove I can do this when I'm hurting. I can do this with my hip.
Yeah.
Like with my hips hurting. My fucking legs falling off. Because we get into this psychology of, well, I can't do anything really. I'm a little rat stuck in a cage. No, you're fucking not. You're a supreme being. So really proud of you. Well done.
Yeah. Thank you.
Proud of
It
you.
was just in that moment, it was just like, my thoughts are the scariest thing. Sensation just add more to my thoughts. I'm not afraid of any sensation. They can throw whatever they want at me. It's just my thoughts. I always want to get out of a situation. That's my number one. Think of up an excuse and get out. And that's
Exactly.
what I'm afraid of. But
Again,
it's probably going to be
s-
harder to overwrite that, because it's a thought, it's not a sensation. It's a thought that's permanently going to keep coming and coming and coming.
see, again, you're absolutely right. And because yours is more a compulsion,
Yeah.
yours is a need to escape.
Yeah.
Where if you're anxious, it's a little bit different with the symptoms. But because you've reacted in a way of retreating so many times, when you feel that thought, you just escape without even trying to stay in it.
Yeah.
And when you do that, you get such a beautiful dopamine hit. It's like a little addiction.
Yeah.
You're breaking a little dopamine addiction here, okay?
Mm-hmm.
That's difficult. I had the same process. When my brain says, Glenn, you're dying of a heart attack, ring an ambulance or go over to the fire brigade station. No, I won't.
Yeah.
Kill me then. Because
Yeah.
I'm not staying stuck in that mental processing. I know it's doing me damage. So you become self-aware and you practice, Lorna. And you won't always get it, but you practice. Okay?
Yeah. It was like the train when I tried the train by myself and let the group chat know that I was there and I couldn't get on that train that first time. But then the second time I was even more determined no matter what the sensations was. And see, once I knew I got onto that train, and got off it and everybody was there with me, it was just amazing. Now I think of a train and I don't panic anymore.
Yeah.
I've overrode that sensation, not overrode the sensation. The sensations are still always going to be there. But now I know when actually got off that train, I actually said to them, was that it? Was that it?
Yeah.
You
It can
know,
happen a lot like that.
yeah. So I just feel like I'm living a wee bit more, but it is just still the thought processes are still there. But I'll get there.
They're gonna let them. It's okay.
Yeah.
Remember, you're putting a big fire out and you've been spraying a lot of fire extinguisher on, but it's not burnt out yet.
Yeah.
So still expect anxiety and some thoughts. Let them be there. But keep
Yeah.
keep putting that fire extinguisher out, okay?
Mm-hmm.
You get one fire extinguisher a day. Sometimes you might even use it because you're having a bad day. Next day, go again. Next
Yeah.
day, go again. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
But guys, I'm really proud of you all. Like the work that's done here, like this is people's lives. This is their life. We get one shot. We're really gonna live it in extreme fear. We don't want that. We want to be brave. So I'm really proud of you all because I know what it takes. I know what it took from me. It took everything in my being. It took things that I never thought I had. Bravery, discipline, everything I tried to do, I failed at. Running away from things that scared me. Nope, couldn't do it anymore. Had to touch into something that I never thought I could have or possess. And that's exactly what you guys will do as well. Anyway, guys, we'll leave it at that. I'm going to turn off recording. Thank you all for participating. I hope you had a good bit of re-education, I like to call it, rather than education. We're going to finish up now. And thank you very much.